Eva Shivaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Is there any way you can change this? Maybe. Hold on. You go to text number 5, chapter 7, text number 5. Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute, text number 5. Apareyam vitastu anyam prakritim vidhine param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam garyate jagat. What happened? You okay?
That's what Maharaj. Battery is there.
That's good now. Yes. Hare Krishna. Apareyam vitastu anyam prakritim vidhine param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam daryate jagat. Word for word meaning. Apara, inferior, iyam, this, ita, besides this, tu, but, anyam, another, prakritim, energy, vidhi, just try to understand, me, my, param, superior, jiva, bhutam, comprising the living entities, mahabaho, almighty armed one, yaya, by whom, idam, this daryate is utilized or exploited, jagat, the material world. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Let's see. Besides this, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Everybody please repeat. Besides this, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Prabhupada's purport. Here, it is clearly mentioned that living entities belong to the superior nature or energy of the Supreme Lord. The inferior energy is matter manifested in different elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Both forms of material nature, namely gross, earth, etc., and subtle, mind, etc., are products of the inferior energy. The living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies for different purposes are of the superior energy of the Supreme Lord. And it is due to this energy that the entire material world functions. The cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it is moved by the superior energy, the living entity. Energies are always controlled by the energetic. Therefore, the living entities are always controlled by the Lord. They have no independent existence. They are never equally powerful as unintelligent men think. The distinction between the living entities and the Lord is described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 87, Text 30, as follows. Aperimita druvastano britu yadhi sarva gatas tarhi nasasyiteti niyamo dhruva nitaratha ajani chayan mayam tat abimucha niyantri bhaghet samang anujanantam yad amatam mata durastataya. O Supreme Eternal, if the embodied living entities were eternal and all-pervading like you, then they would not be under your control. But if the living entities are accepted as minute energies of your Lordship, then they are at once subject to your supreme control. Therefore, real liberation entails surrender by the living entities to your control, and that surrender will make them happy. In that constitutional position, only can they be controllers. Therefore, men with limited knowledge who advocate the monistic theory of God and the living entities are equal in all respects are actually guided by a faulty and polluted opinion. The Supreme Lord, Krishna, is the only controller, and all living entities are controlled by Him. These living entities are His superior energy because the quality of their existence is one and the same with the Supreme, but they are never equal to the Lord in quantity of power. While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy matter, the superior energy, the living entity, forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence. This forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But when the living entity becomes free from the influence of the illusory material energy, he attains a stage called mukti, or liberation. The false ego, under the influence of material illusion, thinks I am matter and material acquisitions are mine. His actual position is realized when he is liberated from all material ideas, including the conception of his becoming one in all respects with God. Therefore, one may conclude that the Gita confirms the living entity to be only one of the multi-energies of Krishna. And when this energy is freed from material contamination, it becomes fully Krishna conscious or liberated. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Apareyam nitastu anyam prakriting vidhini param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam dharmati jagat. Again, translation. Besides this, Almighty Arjuna, there is another superior energy which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of the material inferior nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the source of everything. Janmadi Ashayataha, or as Lord Brahma prays in the Brahma Samhita, Isvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karanam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Isvara, is not of this world. He is transcendental, and his body comprises of full knowledge, bliss, and eternity. Sat Chit Ananda. And also, he is the cause of all causes. Sarva Karna Karnam. Everything emanates from the Supreme Lord, and he has unlimited energies. In the scriptures, says that there are three categories of the Supreme Lord's energies, namely the Antaranga Shakti, the spiritual energy, the Tatastha Shakti, the living entities, and there is the Bahiranga Shakti, the material energy. In the spiritual world, the eternally liberated souls live in full knowledge, bliss, and eternity as well. Unlike in the material world, the Nityabadhas, there are two living entities in the material world, Nitya Siddhas and the Nityabadhas. But the Nitya Siddhas in the material world are very rare. And in the material world, 99.9999999% are called Nitya Badhas, or eternally conditioned souls. Why is it called conditioned? They can upgrade themselves or they can demote themselves. That means their existence. Eternally, we're all Krishna conscious. That is the nature of the soul, to have love for Krishna. But we have forgotten that love for Krishna, having come in contact with the material energy. Just like it just rained. There was a heavy rain on the way here. Prabhupada gave an example. It's like the rain cloud. When it pours the rain, it's pure, very clear, crystal clear. You can even drink if you're in a very healthy place. I don't know if you can drink this water from New York. But if you are like in a rainforest, like in the Amazon or in Guyana, you'll have nice rainforest there, that the water is pure. But then when it comes in contact with earth, it becomes muddy. It becomes colored. The real nature of the water becomes contaminated. So in order to drink that water, you need to filter that. You can get nowadays in the camping stores. They can even take water from the very dirty place, and they will separate the dirt or the contaminations, the microbes, the the amoeba, and then you'll be able to safely drink the filtered water. So the conditioned soul's state or status is that they became covered up by the modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. In the Bhagavad Gita, these three modes of material nature are compared to three primary colors: red, yellow, and blue. Yeah, you learned that in school, right? Yes, kids. A painter, an artist, can expertly mix all these different colors, and he can create like all the colors in the rainbow. Rainbow, you've seen rainbow. Usually we see them also after rain. That Prabhupada says that because of these three modes of material nature, it's like a rope. It's entwined together. That it becomes strong to bind the material, those who are in the material world, the materially contaminated living entities. When we say contaminated means when the living entities started to identify the body as the self, then we become entangled. When one is considered to be known as being in the bodily platform, that means he is in the mental platform. Because the body that we have right now, we don't say, my soul. Did we say my soul? No, that you are the soul. But when we say my body, this body comprises of 8 elements, material elements. Bhumir apo nalo bayo kamano budir ivacha ahankara iti yame bina prakriti ashtida. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are the gross elements of the material body. And then there's the mind, intelligence, and ego, subtle. We cannot see. We are not able to see the mind, the intelligence, and the ego. The function of the mind is to think, feel, and will. Make plans. So that the person who thinks that he is the body will become happy or become properly situated, be comfortable. So now, because of misidentifying the body as a self, the conditioned soul cannot really be happy, cannot be satisfied. Prabhupada gave an example. It's like fish out of the water. If the fish, you put it in the ground, you can give everything, all the luxurious things, all the good things in the land. But the fish will not be happy. Yeah?
Yeah.
The fish has to go back to the water. So similarly, we make so many plans to remain in this material world. As living conditioned souls, we're always arranging so that we will be able to stay here eternally. But it is not possible to stay here in the material world. Well, it is possible, but then you cannot be happy. As Prabhupada says, if you want to remain in this material world, Krishna will make all the arrangements for you to remain. But an intelligent person, understanding that there are miseries and sufferings in this world, an intelligent person will ask, why am I suffering? There's so many suffering, conditioned souls in the material world. So many homeless people in the greatest country in the world. If you go to some places, even big cities, they have areas where homeless people congregate. And they don't want to live that place. They're happy, they're content. But are they really happy? It is like seeing a swine or a pig enjoying the dirt and the mud, eating their own stool. Prabhupada says, if you give them halava, they will not take the halava. That is the nature of this material world, thinking that they'll be happy, they'll be content, they'll be satisfied. One time, King Indra, who is the king of the heavenly planets, he did something wrong. So he was punished to take birth as a pig. with his piggy wife and his piglets. So as pigs, they like dirt. Any one of you came to Vrindavan? Have been to Vrindavan? You've seen the pigs in action, right? Yeah, they're all. I think they're the original punk rockers. They have their hair standing. So King Indra, he was living happily as a pig with his piggy wife and his piglets, playing all day long. So now, time is over. He needs to come back to his position. Lord Brahma is calling him, come back now. Now is the time. Everything is over now. Your punishment is over because King Indra seems to be always in trouble. Because of his false ego. You must have heard the story of Govardhan Puja. Huh? He was thinking, hey, who is this boy? He's talking too much. Why is it that my worship and offering is now being transferred to Govardhan and to the Brahmanas? So King Indra says, no, I'm not going. I'm happy here. Why shall I go? But King Indra is in illusion. This is the same that we are. Of course, for the devotees, they can understand they are not satisfied being in the material world. I just came from UAE, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and the way here to America. And this is one of the richest countries in the world because of oil. Of course, oil is being depleted now also, but the economy is still high. Due to so many investors investing their money. The place is so rich. America is not. You know who's the richest country, richest family in the world? Those who live in the Middle East. I was just reading, others' money is like 75 billion, 100 billion, 250 billion dollars, okay? You know the family in Dubai? Trillions.
Wow.
You cannot imagine how much money is that. Even if you spend like $1 million per minute, I don't think you'll be able to finish that $1 trillion. That's a lot of money. But are they happy? Maybe. Temporarily though. Because real happiness is understanding who we are. Understanding our real nature. Understanding that this place is a place of miseries and sufferings. So let me get out of this place. I remember when I was a young boy, around 14, 15 years old, I was also asking this kind of questions. Is there another world besides where we are right now? Because I can see there's no real happiness. And I used to read the Bible as a Christian. The whole family, they were Roman Catholics. So I was reading, but I cannot find the answer. It's very vague. It's like gray. Not like black and white, distinct. But then when I read the Bhagavad Gita, of course in the beginning I cannot figure out what is the Bhagavad Gita also. But I know that there is something special in the Bhagavad Gita. Because the Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures should be read and studied under the guidance of more advanced devotee than you are. And Srila Prabhupada's purpose make it so clear how we can really dive and try to understand the nature of this material world and the nature of the living entities. So, material nature, it says, Daivihisha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mam ibai prapajante mayam itam tarantite. So this divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome. That means the modes of material nature. If one is in the bodily platform, it's not possible to go beyond the modes of material nature. Even though the living entity's nature is that they are superior. They are superior. In energy-wise, the living entities, the jivas, are spiritual by nature. And the material world, material energy, is inferior. It's made of matter. Of course, material nature is also eternal. As says in the Bhagavad Gita, there are 5 topics mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita: Isvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, and Karma. They are all intertwined in this material world, but only karma is temporary. Material energy, there is a creation, there is a temporary dissolution, and there is also overall dissolution. But then again, after that, creation takes place again. The living entities also, they are eternal by nature, spirit souls. And Bhagavad Gita says it cannot be cut into pieces, it cannot be withered by the wind, it cannot be wet by water, it cannot burn by fire, and it's so small, as Bhagavad Gita says, the size is that of 1/10,000 the tip of the hair. It is not that the ladies, they have bigger souls because they have long hairs. And the men, of course me, maybe I have very small soul. No, when you cut the tip and then you cut 10,000, it's practically invisible. We can find the best, most advanced microscope and it's not possible to see. But by nature, very powerful. It says that the effulgence of the soul is like 10,000 suns rising at the same time. I mean, right now we have one sun in our solar system, right? Of course, the scientist says there are many suns. That they said, oh, these stars are also suns. They're just very far away. No, there's only one sun who can dissipate the darkness in the universe with only one sun. What to say of 10,000 suns? That can really, that is like blinding light. The soul is so powerful that it can also penetrate the material energy. It can go through. When at the time of initiation, the spiritual master planted the seed of bhakti lata beach. Because at the time of initiation, the spiritual master introduces the aspiring disciple to Lord Krishna's lotus feet. And at the time of initiation, it says that the karma of the devotee who is being initiated will be wiped out clean. But there is still some residue. some remaining sinful reactions from the past that the disciple has to work on with, so that this bhakti lata, this seed of bhakti, will grow. And what is the process? It's like we have a plant. What is the process to grow? You water. You water the plant. So similarly, this bhakti lata, or the seed of bhakti, has to be also, should be watered by hearing and chanting. And chanting means pure chanting, not chanting inattentively. Chanting must be done with focus, and it should be done with love and devotion. Of course, in the beginning is mechanical, but we should not remain in the mechanical platform. Mechanical platform means doing many things while chanting. It will not have its full effect. So we chant, we hear, hearing and chanting. Hearing means we read the Bhagavad Gita, we read Srila Prabhupada's books like Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and other books that were written from Srila Prabhupada's lectures. Because most of these books are from Prabhupada's lectures. So, this watering of the Bhaktilata beach also must be guarded. It's like when you water a plant, some unwanted weeds will grow. Where do these unwanted weeds coming from? You didn't plant them. Huh? When you plant a nice, like a rose, but around somehow, some unwanted weeds will sprout. This is because of our past. We still have some karma to be burned from the past. And sometimes from hearing and chanting, this also becomes purified, but still, because not that we are in the purified state already, then some of these desires from the past will sprout again. We think that, I'm already free from material desires. No more sinful desires. No more unwanted desires. But because we are still in the process, it's what we call sadhaka. Sadhaka means we are in the process by following the rules and regulations, that eventually, if I continuously do this earnestly, sincerely, of course, again, by the mercy of the spiritual master and Lord Krishna themselves, we will be able to become completely free from the reactions of our past. So it says that we have to be careful while watering the bhakti lata, so that the unwanted desires will not grow, these unwanted weeds. Because if you water and you don't pluck out the unwanted weeds, they will also grow. And more likely, if they grow bigger than the plant that you are trying to water, the Bhaktilata beach, then it will eat up. And the most thing that we have to avoid is Vaishnava aparad. Because it says that this Vaishnava aparad, if one commits Vaishnava aparad, one's garden, like if there's, it's compared to hatimata, a mad elephant offense. A mad elephant, if he passed through a garden, beautiful garden, good smelling rose and all these things, it will smash everything. It'll be in chaos. So we have to be careful. Attentive chanting, hearing, the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Attend morning program. Do we have a morning program here every day? Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, because of your working. I'm sure most of you also have deities at home, like Gornitai, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, or maybe Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman. So one should also have a good sadhana at home, especially the grihastas. Grihastas means the ashram whereby you are learning how to become detached. Grihastha ashram means the ashram where you are preparing to become detached, not becoming more attached materially. Because grihasthas means there is license for sense enjoyment. You're allowed to have children. The brahmacharis, no. The vanaprasthas, no. The sannyasis, no. Only in grihastha ashram. So one must be very careful that one should also not be attached to the family members. The greatest bondage in the material world is to be attached to the family members. That doesn't mean that we should not be affectionate. That doesn't mean we should not love them. But such a way that we should not be carried that material elements or material energy will be the utmost priority in Grihastha ashram. In Grihastha ashram means Krishna is the center of your activities. I've been traveling all over the world, and most of the Grihasthas' complaint is that they don't have time for their family. They are so much absorbed in working. Or it's like in some places, they have so many spiritual programs in the evening. So after work, they will go for programs like Bhakti Vriksha program or Namahata program. But because they work and then plus the spiritual activities, which is good spiritual activities, but then some of them they said, Maharaj, I don't have time for myself also. I don't have time for my children. There's one devotee. He has one daughter, only one daughter. And Maharaj, I don't have time for my daughter. What shall I do? I said, well, sometimes you have to say no also for the programs. Because you'll be so much, okay, engagement is good, but number one priority for the family is that to take care of their own family first. There's a saying in English, charity starts at home. Yeah?
Yes.
Because it says no one should become a king, one should not be a father or a mother, one should not be a guru, one should not be a teacher if he cannot release his subjects from the cycle of repeated birth and death. The human form of life is meant for self-realization. That means Krishna consciousness, so that we don't have to take birth again in this material world. It is very difficult. to come to the platform of Krishna consciousness, but at the same time, it is not impossible. Oh, it's time to go? Yeah, I think that's the sign we have to go soon, right? There are many ways how we can make our life become more happier, peaceful, and we just have to make priority Krishna as the center of our life. Sometimes we're asked, Maharaj, how do you balance family life? How do you balance work? Is that me? No. Someone connects to the Bluetooth. So, yes, have Krishna as the center of our life. Prabhupada, there's one disciple, a mother, and she was a pujari, but then she gave birth to a child. So now she asked Prabhupada, what shall I do now? Shall I continue deity worship? Or what? What shall I do? Prabhupada says, your child is your deity. Now you have to take care of your child. That is more important. So similarly, I know many children are growing up, they're becoming, some of them, teenagers. So you have to give them the best Krishna conscious education as much as possible. They are our next leaders. It's like there's a saying, the child is the future of mankind. Yes?
Yes.
You've heard of that?
Yes.
So they are our future, and Prabhupada says they'll be so powerful. But don't force them. Forcing is not good. You have to educate them. That is more important. If you tell them, okay, if you don't chant Hare Krishna, no chapati today. I've heard that. I've heard that. You know, it's like the boy was forced to read one sloka, forcing every time. You know what happened to the boy when he grew up? He became an atheist. He gave up everything. What? Why do I have to do this? You have to give them the best education. Give them Krishna consciousness. I know one family, the daughter asked the father, Pitaji, is this all I'm going to do when I grow up? Only ringing the bells? Because she sees the father doing puja every day, in the morning. No. We are not the controller. Krishna is the supreme controller. And these children, they are not your property. Don't think that they belong to you. These children are there for you to take care of. Ultimately, Krishna is the proprietor of everything, even ourselves. We belong to Krishna. These children also belongs to Krishna. To think that this is my propriety or property is an illusion. And it says there is also, have you heard, extended sense enjoyment? Extended sense gratification? It's like a child. A child may want something, material thing. But you want the child to be happy. Okay, I will give you, no problem. Okay, just don't cry. And then the next time, the child will ask the same thing, and he will cry and cry and cry until you'll give up. Okay, I want to make my child happy. Okay, hush now. That's not how it goes. It is very difficult. Prabhupada says, children up to 5 years old, you can let them do whatever they want to do. But then after 5, you have to tell them, no, this is not good. Okay, you can do this, but up to, a little. Like you have to be like telling them now some good words of advice. Like, okay, don't do that. Do this. Okay, you can do this. You can do that. And then when they reach the age of like 13 years old or so, you become like their friend. If you don't have that attitude of becoming their friend, they will not listen to you. Because that's the time that they will rebel. You tell them yes, they will say no way. You tell them you don't tell them no, don't do it. I am grown up now. Why should I listen to you? So human form of life is very, very rare, and the tendency of the conditioned soul is to exploit the material energy. And because of this, then we take birth again and again in this material world in one of the 8,400,000 species of life. The purpose of human form of life is not to take birth again and to attain moksha or liberation. For the devotees, they don't care also wherever they will take birth, either in the hellish planets or as long as they are Krishna conscious. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I don't mind taking birth even as a dog. Who wants to take birth as a dog? No one, right? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I don't mind taking birth as a dog as long as I'm in the family of devotees. Because I can still hear the kirtan, and I'm sure I'm going to get Mahaprasad. So, human form of life is very rare, and this center that you have, ISKCON Hudson here, is very, very important in this area, and I hope that you'll get a bigger place, your congregation will increase, more and more conditioned souls will take the process of Krishna consciousness in the future. I'm sure Srila Prabhupada is happy in your attempts and your endeavor, and also the disciplic succession, and ultimately Lord Krishna. This is how we become successful. The secret of success is to please the spiritual master by our service attitude. It's like we were reading this morning in ISKCON Brooklyn, we gave the class, that Devahuti is the wife of Kardama Muni. And the Devahuti was a princess, daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. And somehow, Kardama Muni also had that inclination to be married. He's a pure devotee. He's a yogi also. He's a pure devotee. So, but he's a hermit. He's an ascetic, performing great tapasya. He has one ashram, hermitage, in the forest. So, when Devahuti and Kardama Muni got married, Devahuti completely have forgotten herself, bodily needs. Her hair became disheveled and started to have like locked of hairs. Like you've seen sometimes, the what do you call the Rastafarians or something? Yeah? They have this hair, like lots of hair. She became emaciated. She became skinny. She forgot herself completely. Her cloth became muddy. It's not really dirty, but it became soiled. And he says it's so thick. But then, because of this, Kardama Muni awarded her pure bhakti. Pure bhakti. Kardama Muni can give this. He's a perfected soul. He's a liberated soul. So similarly, by serving our spiritual master wholeheartedly, by serving him unconditionally, faithfully, loyally, surrender unto him wholeheartedly, then one day we will be bestowed the mercy of pure devotional service. This is the secret of success, according to Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur. Then the purpose of human form of life will be achieved. To go back home, back to Godhead. Who wants to go back home, back to Godhead? Everyone. Oh, you don't want to? You want to go back home, right? There is a saying in English, there's no place like home. Or in India, they will say, Om, sweet Om. Our home is not in this material world. Our home is not in America. Our home is not even in India. Our home is in this spiritual world, where we eternally will be lovingly serve Supreme Personality of Godhead, full of knowledge and bliss. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any questions or comment? Any questions? Any questions? If there's no more question, we'll end up here. Is there any question there?
Hare Krishna, any questions?
Everyone understood what I said, or you did not understand? Okay. Oh, there's a question. Mataji.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for a wonderful class. So you said like sometimes we can say no to the programs, but that is also is very difficult to say no. So how can we? Like,
How can you say no?
it's very hard sometimes too.
Just say no. Listen, sometimes devotees, there is a word called burnt out. Burnt out. You know what burnt out means? You're doing it, you're overdoing it. You have to have some time for yourself. That is most important. Prabhupada says, it is good to save others, but more important is to save yourself first. Huh? You have to value your own time, your own space. You have to have this. Don't go nearby. Don't go nearby there. No, because the microphone, the speaker will feedback. You see, you have to dedicate some time for yourself also. If you don't, then the reaction will be you'll not be able to last that long. First, you have to think of your health as well. Huh? I've been traveling the last almost 3 weeks now, no more than that. And I'm finding it like, every day. Sometimes I have 5 programs, 6 programs. That's including the Mangalarti, okay? So, it is very taxing. It's very taxing. This is just the last weekend, right? Here in New York City. Yesterday I had 5 programs. Yeah. 26 Second Avenue, Mangalarti, then the Kirtan in Radha Govinda Mandir, and then Central New Jersey class, Sunday Feast. And then the last is the Prasadam program. And by the time we reach our place where we stay, it's about 11 o'clock. So I cannot do that every day. Otherwise, it's what you call you'll be burnt out. Huh? Today I had a little bit easy day and meeting you all here. Yeah? But I can say I don't have to, but yet you're right. It's very difficult to say no. But you should know your limit. You should know your limit. We're not unlimited yet. One day, when it's like Srila Prabhupada, he says, yeah, this is preaching. He came back from a program like almost midnight. He had some, what do you call this? Puri with sugar and dipped it in milk. This is life. Because the program is like midnight. And he was preaching the whole day long. But he's transcendental. We cannot do that, right? Just imagine every night you have a program here. Are you be able to make it? Huh?
No.
Of course not. Even daily program, you come here, congregate here, it'll be difficult, isn't it? But for sannyasis, this is our duty to come and have your association. Say something about Krishna. What do we gain from this? But this is our dharma. Okay?
Okay.
Anything else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for this lecture. It's very informative. We all have our own deities at our home.
Yes.
I have Lord Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, when we go to Sunday programs, so we usually have to left home around 4 or something. At that time, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing. I'm doing partiality with my Jagannath Ji by not offering food and puja archana at time because the Sandhya Aarti and all. How should we think in that situation?
The temple standard of deity worship is not the same as home standard of worship. The Lord can understand if you're not able to be on time because you have some other kind of priority on that day. But don't make it habitual. You should also be punctual. If you set certain time, you do it certain time. I know some devotees, when they travel, they will leave their deities to somebody else, another devotee, to take care of. Because it is for them cumbersome, difficult. No. try to bring your deity wherever you go. Unless your deity is like 3 feet tall, and you cannot do that, right? But if you have, small Jagannath, why not?
Maharaj, like, how do we,
Give the mic to her.
how do
Give the
we
mic.
how do we let us understand that? Earlier when I started all this,
How?
earlier when we started all this,
It was not that kind of feeling, but eventually I am feeling that love with
Well,
my
that's good.
devotees.
If you're
So,
feeling like that, it
I'm
is good.
feeling guilty
Listen,
sometimes.
listen. If you're not guilty, that means you don't have love. Now that you are feeling guilty, that means you're increasing your love. So that is good. But as I said, don't make it as habitual, that you're always feeling guilty. You must also be satisfied, because that is the result of serving the Lord. You become happy, you become satisfied. If you're just always guilty that I cannot do my service, you better not do your service. Give the deities to somebody else who can take care of them properly. Okay? Huh?
I understand.
Good. Okay, we stop here. I know there's another question. When is the prasadam time? Thank you all very much. Shukriya. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Gaur Sitanand Premanandi.
Hari Hari Bo.
Hare Krishna.